Welcome to Mangaverse Recaps, your favorite manga recapped weekly.
Our next recap opens on its title card. Reborn as an aristocratic scoundrel. I broke the game and mastered magic beyond limits. A reincarnation fantasy with a wicked twist. You wake up as the one villain everyone is fated to hate. The genre banner spells out the ride. Reincarnation and isekai, action and magic, romance and comedy, a splash of harem, and, tucked right at the end, tragedy. Hold on to that last one. We open mid-duel. An arrogant silver-haired noble sneers at his lone challenger. Does a mere commoner truly believe he can win? The losing flag, he laughs, has been waving from the very start as the crowd roars for their beloved Weiss-sama. But the rain-soaked arena tells another story. The proud noble lies broken, while the true hero stands over him, and a devastated cry tears across the stands. Weiss-sama, the villain has fallen. This is Weiss Vincent, infamous across the land as the villainous noble. Beaten by the protagonist Alan, he loses everything from that moment on. And far away, a modern gamer clears that exact scene on his screen, then quietly slumps over his desk and dies. In a burst of color, the hook lands. That dead gamer wakes up reincarnated as Weiss himself, the doomed villain of the very game he'd beaten so many times. Chapter 1. Wait, I've become the villainous noble? Inside a sprawling manor, someone stumbles about, panting and disoriented, desperate to understand where he suddenly is. And the scene he's woken into is chilling. Weiss, idly sawing at a violin, looming over a collapsed maid he's plainly been tormenting for his own amusement. Huh? Our gamer surfaces behind the villain's eyes, staring blankly at his own hands and the vast ballroom around him, none of it making the slightest sense. Who? Where is this? What the hell? 1 second ago he was playing a game, and now a woman lies bound before him in a humiliating position. His mind scrambles to catch up with the nightmare. Then he truly sees her, a breathtakingly beautiful maid, watching him with worry. Weiss-sama, what's wrong? She asks softly. Something nags at him. He's certain he's seen this girl somewhere before. The realization detonates. He's become Weiss Vincent, the cruel, abusive noble from the school game Noblesse Oblige, a title he's personally cleared many times over. There's no mistake about it. In that game, Weiss is the designated villain, a highborn bully who blocks the hero Alan at every turn all through the school arc. And he's the lowest sort of scum, wielding his power to grind down the weak. Crushed by the hero and stripped of everything, he ends up the Demon King's lackey, spent as a disposable shield and killed. That grim fate now hangs over our reincarnated gamer. The maid, he realizes, is Lilith Scarlet, and tormenting her was one of Weiss's favorite pastimes. Looking at the girl he's just been abusing, he's sick with horror at the monster he's become. What an absolutely horrible bastard. He moves to free her at once. She's far too sweet to leave bound like this. Then he hesitates. Won't such a sudden change of heart look suspicious? Flustered, he mutters that he'll stop here for today, unable to simply abandon her. Then he spots the raw marks wringing her neck, and the way she trembles. Something in him refuses to let it stand. He thrusts his palms forward and speaks the word, heal. It works. It's the developer's hidden healing magic, usable from the game's very start, a secret he only knows thanks to a leaked strategy guide. Red-faced, he insists he was merely practicing. It's not like he did it for her sake or anything, but Lilith dissolves into grateful tears. Thank you so much, Weiss-sama. Her devotion floors him. Had Weiss truly broken her down so far that she'd weep with thanks for her own tormentor? She, meanwhile, never dreamed he could heal at all. Steadying himself, he says the words the real Weiss never would. Lilith, I'm sorry for everything until now. I won't do it anymore. She only stares back, completely bewildered by the stranger wearing her master's face. At dinner, the family butler, Zavis Alden, sets a plate down with open dread. Normally, the young master would snarl that it's inedible and hurl the dish to the floor. So tonight, the whole household braces for the usual tantrum. At dinner, though, the reformed Weiss does the unthinkable. He praises the meal. Treating food carelessly was wrong of him, he says. The seasoning is perfect tonight. The butler Zavis can only stare, thunderstruck. Zavis bursts into tears of joy. Such gracious words, he's deeply honored. It was just a meal, Weiss thinks, baffled as the whole staff sobs that Weiss-sama is wonderful. They're so moved, they never notice a completely different soul now lives inside him. Watching them, he pieces it together. The old Weiss must have been truly monstrous. He makes a quiet vow. From now on, no more making these poor girls cry. And step 1 is disposing of a certain cruel little tool. Outside, he burns the torture whip for good and grips a practice sword, jaw set. I must change even more. The clock is ticking. The academy entrance exam is just 2 years away, and as a noble, he's bound to enroll at 15. In the game, Weiss's ruin begins the moment he loses the combat test to the hero. So if he simply doesn't lose there, the whole future could change. The resolve crystallizes. Even if it costs him every last ounce of strength, he will claw his way off the path to ruin. Weiss! A sharp voice snaps. Slumped on a tree stump and soaked in sweat, he's deep into a training regimen far more brutal than he ever bargained for. The voice belongs to his instructor, Milk Avitas, an S-rank adventurer. Are you even taking this seriously? She demands, arms crossed as he wheezes that he can't move another inch and begs weakly for a little break. Fine, she says coolly. Rest, if he wants to be branded a loser the instant he enrolls. He'd used his family's connections to recruit an incredible mentor, and now she drills him without mercy. Knees bent, wrists up. Fix that stance. In the game, Milk appears only at the very end, reputed to be the swordsman closest to strongest in the entire royal capital. He'd asked her to train him ruthlessly and forget he's a noble, and now discovers, too late, that she is terrifyingly sadistic. Lilith arrives with a headband he requested, asking what the character on it means. Diligence, he tells her, a vow to give his all to the very point of death. Milk looks on, thoroughly unimpressed. Noblesse oblige, he reminds us, is notorious as a death game, clearable only through relentless, repeated play. He never once trained his body, not even in his past life, but neglect his preparation and its instant expulsion, or death. Not a second can be wasted. Building baseline fitness, he explains, is essential to learning swordsmanship and magic efficiently, and it's utterly exhausting. Every day starts with sword forms, then hellish muscle work, then endless running to build stamina. Over and over, from dawn to dusk, over and over and over again, the reforming villain grinds himself to the bone. Zevis quietly supports the effort, serving protein-packed meals on the young master's orders, since diet matters as much as training and injuries can be patched with recovery magic. 2 weeks in, Weiss apologizes for the burden. Thanks to Zevis, he can just barely manage the overwork. 3 weeks in, the training is so hellish that a single day feels like a month. The sun has long since set, and yet almost before he realizes it, he's begun to change. Next he summons a magic teacher, praying this one will be kind. Milk's sword drills have wrung him dry. Come in, he calls. Nice to meet you, Weiss-kun, says a voice beneath a witch's hat. He braces for whoever walks through the door. It's Milk. Again, my name's Milk Avitas, the very same S-rank adventurer. Not you again, he howls. What's the point of the same character showing up twice, he groans. She's not just a swordmaster, she explains smugly. She's a genius magic swordsman who wields 2 of the 4 great attributes. He'd begged Zevis for a gentle teacher. She promises, with a wicked grin, to teach him gently. Gently is a lie. Ah! Channel more magic, don't close your eyes, keep it up 2 more hours. Isn't this even worse than the sword training, he sobs? Where on earth is her kindness? Magic needs mana, she lectures, and the only way to grow mana is constant training. So repeat this every single day until you pass out. No way, he screams, already face down in the dirt. From that day, practical sparring with wooden swords begins on top of the grueling magic drills. Still full of openings, Milk taunts, thrashing him flat. Then Lilith rushes in with a heel. Delighted, Milk realizes she's found the perfect punching bag, one who can be mended and beaten all over again, as Lilith vows to keep him standing. Yet something puzzles Weiss. Why is a hopeless slacker like him suddenly able to work this hard? In his past life, he was a living corpse. He gave up, surrendered, fled from everything he was supposed to face. So what changed? How can the same lazy soul now grind so diligently? 2 months into training, he clears a goal in just 2 hours. And Milk, wordless, rests a hand on his head. Quite the improvement, she says. Is this, he wonders, what she meant by teaching him gently? Every time he hits a goal, she'll reward him with a pat. That, apparently, is the whole deal. The carrot-to-stick ratio feels deeply unfair, he grumbles. Enormous training, tiny reward. That's not true, Weiss, Milk counters, just as Lilith approaches. I've brought your lunch, Weiss-sama, Lilith calls. Milk nods. He already gets plenty of carrot from others like her. Milk herself, she says, is merely the one holding the stick. And that support is exactly what lets him give his all. So he mustn't forget the value of the carrot's role. It slowly dawns on him. Everything he's achieved is thanks to the people around him. Zevis, who nourishes him, Lilith, who's always at his side, and Milk Sensei, who hardens her own heart for his growth. Without every one of them pulling together, he'd never have made it this far. The old Weiss and his past life self only ever thought of themselves, and no one ever scolded them, so no one ever supported them either. What he truly needed all along was a blend of the sweet and the harsh. So he resolves, no more living purely for himself, not just to show off, not just to spare Lilith and the others any sadness, but because deep down, he simply doesn't want to be ruined and doesn't want to die. The vow blazes across his face, Lilith and Milk at his back. He will escape the path of destruction for himself and for everyone who believes in him. It's still brutal, of course. Next goal, 4 hours. Keep going till you drop dead. Milk barks, and the grind rolls mercilessly on. A chapter splash sums up the whole premise with a wink. Reincarnated as the lazy and villainous noble, the maid Lilith front and center. The next chapter opens in a bustling town, Weiss strolling between Milk and Lilith. Is this a dream date, flanked by 2 beauties? Not quite. Hard-eyed thugs are already watching from the shadows. In the game, this is the very first town the hero reaches, League Belt Town, and its security is as rotten as ever. Brutes hurling threats and challenges the moment they walk in. So who's his opponent, Weiss asks? Is the real test just picking a fight with some random thug? 3 months into training, Milk has judged him ready and arranged a practical combat exam right here in the city. Lilith can't relax for a second, but cheers him on anyway. Fight, Weiss-sama. Don't worry, Milk grins. She's planning to handpick the perfect opponent for him, so he should look forward to it. The local thugs leer at the girls and sneer at Weiss. Cocky kid parading beauties around. Lilith and Milk are less impressed than murderous. Talk like that, one warns, and these men will literally get themselves killed. League Belt Town is reputed to be the worst town around, a den of thugs. Milk or no milk, Weiss silently swears to protect Lilith at all costs. Not worth the time, Milk says. Just ignore them. Huh? Yeah, that's true, Milk chirps, but Weiss stiffens. For one instant, he'd swear he felt a spike of pure killing intent radiating off sweet, gentle Lilith. Just his imagination, surely. They reach the Adventurers Guild, where 3 hulking brutes fix their eyes on the newcomers amid the din. Step outside, kid, one snarls, spoiling for a brawl the moment Weiss walks in. These, Milk reveals, are the Boudin brothers, his test opponents. Bribes have let them dodge justice for a horrifying rap sheet: robbery, kidnapping, murder, slave trading, and worse. They're vile enough that he needn't hold back at all. The corrupt police who shielded them are already under arrest. Listen, Weiss, she says. His resolve is strong, but he has 0 real combat experience. Real fighting is a road he must walk eventually, so he may as well get his first taste of it now. Plenty of rookies, she notes, have died for lack of experience. And someday he'll face a real fight utterly alone, no teacher at his back. Miss this chance and he'll regret it. But today she promises she's right here. If things turn dangerous, she'll step in. Go in with confidence. What a reassuring mentor, he thinks. Where the hell did you go, Milk? The instant the brawl spills into an alley, Milk and Lilith simply vanish. He'd started this fight counting on her backup, and realizes, too late, the sadistic teacher tricked him into taking on 3 criminals alone. No backing down now just because he's scared. His goal, sever one of their arms. They look like common punks, but they're genuinely skilled. 3 against 1, in a fair fight he might not stand a chance. Still, he reminds himself, there's no need to kill them. Before charging in, he forces himself to think. Get cornered in an alley and the fight starts whether he likes it or not. Do it right and you'll be fine. Just follow what I taught you. Milk's lesson surfaces in his mind. In flashback, Lilith scolds Milk for the cruel deception. Milk mutters that she'll swoop in if it gets truly dangerous. Isn't that hardly a real test anymore, Lilith wonders? One that assumes someone will always come to the rescue? Meanwhile, a separate gang recognizes Lilith from the town square and circles in, delighted by their luck. Such a beautiful girl, and perfect timing. They're the band of thieves who run this town, they boast. And tonight they happen to be short on company. They crowd around Lilith and the other captured girls, never noticing the chilling look sharpening in her eyes. A heartbeat later, the alley erupts in a spray of black, and the demure little maid proves to be something far more dangerous than any of them ever bargained for. Gia! Across town, Weiss makes his move, lunging before the brothers can react, one of them howling as the ambush lands. Move first, Weiss. Milk's teaching drives him, The opening strike that catches a foe off guard outclasses any attack. In battle, nothing matters more than catching the enemy unprepared. Even a martial master dies if his neck snaps before he can brace. Even a magic master dies if he's struck before raising a barrier. In short, move before your opponent moves. As he fights, a hard truth surfaces. All his life, he's put off every decision he ever had to make. He always assumed tomorrow's version of himself would somehow handle it. But time solves nothing. From now on, he'll have to make his calls in seconds, the very instant he knows what must be done. I'm going to change. From the lazy version of myself, he commits fully, striking with everything he has. Success, he wins because he moved before the enemy did. Had all three readied for combat at once, or had he stepped deeper into the alley where their mana would surge, he'd have had no chance. Full marks, he tells himself. Or so he'd like to think. Milk scores it a mere 70. She'd have severed an arm right there in the guild. That's the proactive approach. Lilith, glowing, gives him a wholehearted 200. As expected of Weiss-sama, he looks between his two impossible teachers, spent but alive. Milk finally reappears, laughing off her vanishing act. Then Weiss spots something. Is that blood on Lilith's clothes? It's just your imagination. Milk chirps, a little too quickly, as Lilith fidgets and blushes. Elsewhere, the truth sprawls across a wrecked hideout. Over 20 members of a notorious thief gang, beaten senseless, their captive girls freed. The work of someone far more terrifying than a mere maid. The papers report it all. The bandits pummeled beyond speech, though not one killed, and the vile Boudin brothers captured too. Every bit of it credited to the cooperation of one Weiss Vincent. A mysterious silver-haired beauty studies the article with quiet interest. That Weiss? Huh. Soon a thank you letter and a cash reward reach the Vincent estate. A band of thieves? Weiss hasn't the faintest idea what any of it means. And, for now, ignorance is bliss. Chapter 3. A year and a half's progress. Time, it seems, has been very busy. 18 months into training, the transformation is staggering. Where a scrawny slacker once wheezed, a lean, hardened Weiss now stands atop the rocks. Overwhelming growth made flesh. Collapsing from mana exhaustion, running dry on stamina, the daily agony of relentless drills. None of it phases him anymore. More than that, he can now sense enemies through solid walls and feel the mana coursing through his body. He's come remarkably far, and the magic training, he reports, is going well. There are 4 elements of magic: earth, wind, water, and fire, and Milk's Spartan regimen forces him to master every one of them equally, a grind he still dreads. The staff marvel that Milk is somehow even worse than the Boudin brothers Weiss captured, a genuine demon of a teacher. But it's because his talent is so extraordinary. Ordinarily, a person can wield only a single element. Even an S-rank adventurer like Milk commands just 2, yet Weiss can use all 4, an exceptionally rare gift. Zevis reflects with wonder. Had the young master stayed lazy, such a talent would never have bloomed at all. Weiss-sama, Zevis says, moved to the core, you've truly become admirable. Then, reality cuts in. Weiss, mid-drill, wailing, please don't hit me. I'm sorry. Stop breaking his nose with the wooden sword already, Lilith cries, shielding him from Milk. But then Milk narrows her eyes. He's been practicing magic behind her back, hasn't he? Show her, right now. Sheepishly, he obliges, and light blooms in one hand while darkness swirls in the other. Beyond the usual 4 elements, he can wield the rare special attributes too, light and dark. It's still incomplete, he admits. He'd hoped to reveal it only once perfected, but now that both of them are watching, he decides to finish it here, his very own original magic, fusing light and dark together. This is the result of a year and a half's effort. The technique erupts to life as Lilith and Milk stare, wide-eyed. Later, the mansion hosts a glittering evening gathering, and, right in the middle of the crowd, Weiss lets slip an enormous yawn. A yawn's hardly proper at an event like this, he winces. Is he short on sleep? Lilith asks, or still worn out from yesterday? The truth, he just finished perfecting his original magic. That spell weds the light element's healing light, to the dark element's curse poison, dark haze, forming dark heal, automatically mending every ally in range while steadily cursing any foe. The mana cost is monstrous, leaving him drained, but the technique is complete. He still needs more training to expand his mana pool. To perk him up, Lilith cheerfully announces she'll go fetch some strong liquor, and dashes off before he can protest. Then something catches his eye at the party, figures slipping through the crowd with the agile grace of assassins. Surely not, though the game's lore did mention the Vincent family keeps hidden guards. Weiss? Then she steps into view. The silver-haired beauty from the newspaper, gliding through the ballroom crowd, every noble turning as she passes. Whispers ripple through the hall. Cynthia, daughter of Countess Violetta, that shimmering hair, those beautiful red eyes. Without a doubt, she is stunning no matter how anyone looks at her. And she is none other than the game's main heroine, Cynthia Violetta. She fixes her gaze on Weiss with a sly little smile. Weiss, long time no see. You look like you just crushed a goblin into muddy soup. What's wrong? She teases. Inwardly, he reels. In the game, Weiss was hated by every single character, and Cynthia hated him most of all. In fact, she is the very one who riddled his body full of holes in the story's ending. As a Vincent, he'd shown his face here reluctantly, and never dreamed he'd cross paths with Cynthia before even enrolling. He should never have come to a gathering of people like this. Calm down, he tells himself. It's still before enrollment. I haven't done a thing to earn her hatred yet. But then a memory surfaces. A memory belonging to the previous Weiss? The recollection is vile, the old Weiss sneering with cruel delight. I can hardly remember it. What on earth was I doing? Cynthia? The truth crashes down in shadow and killing intent. I still haven't forgotten what happened back then, you know? Using his title, the old Weiss had forced her into his room and tried to defile her with those filthy hands. You trash noble. Her loathing is so total he feels he could die from it. Just what had that bastard predecessor saddled him with. This is the worst. How could he have so brazenly attended this party? So he does the only thing left to him. He bows his head low. I'm sorry, Lady Cynthia. I can only sincerely apologize. It was an act unworthy of a noble, and the fault was entirely mine. Cynthia blinks, taken aback. I see. She isn't cruel enough to trap someone genuinely repenting, though he doubts he'll ever truly be forgiven. I never thought you'd lower your head in front of everyone, she murmurs, peeking at him. If it shaves even a sliver off his odds of ruin, he's grateful. He's longed to get a little closer to the Cynthia he adored in the original work. But for now, best to find the right moment and slip away. This is about all he can manage today. They are, he tells himself, like light and darkness, destined never to cross paths. A disgraced noble drawing near a well-bred young lady can only end in disaster, like the hero who flew too close to the sun. So he moves to withdraw here, and she seizes his hand. In front of the entire hall, before the string players and every watching eye, Lilith included, Cynthia speaks his name. Weiss Vincent. If you don't mind, she asks, sliding her arm through his, would you like to dance with me? As the music swells and couples spin across the floor, Lilith all but shrieks, Weiss! Behind you! Behind you! Then the scene leaps ahead to a peaceful tea time at the Vincent estate. The weather is lovely, isn't it? The little birds are chirping. Weiss stares, dumbfounded. Cynthia? Is at his home? Why? Chapter 4, Engagement. The splash purrs its theme. In everything, making the first move is the key, right? With Cynthia draped languidly across the page. The events that led here began that night. Invited for reasons unknown to a formal dance, he'd met the heroine Cynthia purely by chance. Actually, I know all about it, she tells him mid-dance. The fact that you've changed, you look puzzled. Word of his grueling daily training for the academy had reached her through gossip among the nobles. So, she presses gently, you said you don't remember much about that day, right? As for that, I honestly don't know how to properly apologize. Yes. About that attempted assault incident, she breathes and leans in close, sending his heart into freefall. What about me? She whispers. Did you also forget that you said you liked me? Then, lightly, Ara, the dance has ended, hasn't it? But it wasn't the end. Cynthia had stolen his heart that night and simply walked away. Well then, see you again. With that lingering promise hanging in the air, the story turns to introduce a new player entirely, Weiss's father, Ageto Vincent. There's a second letter tucked inside the first, also from Weiss's father. Milk gets a bad feeling and rallies the staff to prepare a welcome. And that, the narration notes, brings us to the present. Back to that tea in the garden, where Weiss silently seethes. Just what the hell is that old man thinking? That damned geezer? He's honestly happy to share tea with Cynthia, the girl he likes, but there's the catch. In the original story, Cynthia was meant to end up with the protagonist, Alan. He simply can't afford to grow close to her. Change that future, and the events with Alan may never happen at all. Rewrite the story, and he loses his one advantage, knowledge of the scenario. Stealing the heroine would derail everything. Even beating Alan in the entrance test could warp the timeline, so he has to hold a perfect distance. Bad to be liked, bad to be disliked. Hey, Weiss-sama, Cynthia cuts in. You once said you fell in love with me at first sight, she reminds him. Did you forget that too? At the time, it was awfully sudden, and the arrogant way you said it left me dissatisfied. But if you're going to apologize this sincerely, then even I, she murmurs, cheeks pink and eyes soft. Wouldn't be opposed to it, you know? Weiss short-circuits inside. That scared him. The very instant he decides being liked would be dangerous, this happens. So noble-looking, yet so unexpectedly soft. And now that he thinks about it, in the original story, the speed at which she fell for the hero was downright abnormal. Once Cynthia falls in love, she becomes fanatically devoted. Sweet-natured as she is, that's exactly the problem. He has to lower her affection somehow. Fuff-fuff-foo, your quiet side is shy and cute, she teases. And he panics. No way, his favorability is climbing all on its own. Yeah! Just then, Lilith arrives with a fresh pot. Weiss-sama, here's a refill of your tea, and startles a thoroughly pathetic yelp out of him. Well, he reasons, maybe a moan that undignified will finally cool Cynthia's feelings off. Small mercies, it backfires. Cynthia only swoons harder, mumbling how cute Weiss is as her heart meter spikes. This girl's hopeless. He needs to fix this fast. Then she pivots. He's heard about today's matter from his father, hasn't he? The engagement. After talking with him today, she's decided to agree. Tonight's dinner party is their formal introduction. Cue his father, Villainous Vincent, holding court with his suited underlings, while cheerfully building a sandcastle at a playground. His troublesome, bashful son finally got to dance with the famous Lady Cynthia, so he took immediate action and locked down the engagement with the Villainous family. No hesitation whatsoever. You're really doing this with your son's approval, boss? An underling ventures. Yes. Now quit complaining and help me dig the tunnel, the doting Don barks. He's the boy's father. He can read exactly what Weiss wants just by looking at his face. Weiss, of course, is thinking no such thing. Back in the present, the truth detonates. The hell do you mean by engagement? Dad, this was no small tea party. His father arranged the whole match with the Villainous family for one reason only, to make his son happy. It isn't some cold political marriage. In noble houses, parents commonly pick the partner. Weiss never even knew what kind of man his father was, since he barely appeared in the original work. The answer, it turns out, is the epitome of an overindulgent parent, the kind who wheels out a cart heaped with jewels for his boy. And there, Weiss finally grasps the single biggest reason the original Weiss ever curdled into a villain. Just then, a small voice. Weiss-sama, it's Lilith, fighting back tears. Please, be happy with Lady Violetta. And then she bolts. Wait, Lilith, those legs, hold on. She sprints off before he can finish. Milk materializes with a new directive. Today's training quota. Chase Lilith. Does he understand why she's crying? The man she's supported for a year and a half was just snatched away by a lady who appeared from nowhere. The engagement may not be his choice, Milk says, but she won't let him ignore Lilith's grief. Fail, and your punishment is death. Bring her home. Now go. Weiss takes off at a dead run, and the guilt hits. He owes Lilith an enormous debt. Of course, a bombshell like this would shake her. She's always been at his side. If Lilith had never supported him, he'd have stayed his hopeless, lazy self forever. The only reason he ever gave his all was because of her. Lilith, please wait. Please just leave me alone. Yet no matter how hard he pushes, he can't close the gap. She's impossibly fast. You've got to be kidding him. The chase tears across gardens and ravines. Just listen to me once. It can't be helped. I'm only a maid after all. It's fine, Weiss-sama, she sobs, even as she flees. You're precious to me, he shouts across the estate grounds. Lilith, you're not just a maid. The engagement was my father's doing, not mine. It's not something I decided. And then, catching his breath, does she know about the servant system at the Noble Academy? Because there's something he needs to tell her, Lilith. At the Noblesse Magic Academy he'll be attending, only high-ranking nobles may bring a single personal servant, a rare exception. I want that servant to be you, he tells her, because I trust you the most. I'm taking you with me. Lilith's eyes go wide. Then that means, does this mean you're seeking me out, Weiss-sama? That's exactly why I'm chasing you. The pursuit rages on, and through her tears she calls back a strange, hopeful question. Will he keep chasing after her like this? Forever? He's on the verge of blacking out from the sprint. Yeah! He gasps anyway. That's right, she cries, and finally, won over. If you insist that much, I understand. Beaming, cheeks flushed, Lilith throws him a thumbs up. From now on, she'll serve as Weiss-sama's devoted attendant, his secret mistress. She's so overjoyed she doesn't notice the warning sign right beside her. Cliff ahead. Weiss-sama. The ground vanishes beneath her, and she plunges off the edge. Without a thought, Weiss hurls himself after her. The two of them tumble together into the vast green ravine below, a cliffhanger in the most literal sense. He catches her in his arms as they fall. Weiss-sama, please be at ease, she whispers. I'll do my best. And the fact that we've become this kind of relationship, I'll never breathe a word of it to anyone. It's a secret love, isn't it? She murmurs happily, just before they plunge into the river with an enormous splash. And so, the recap dryly summarizes. He ended up in a hidden affair with Lilith, got engaged to Cynthia, and, all right, by a steaming hot spring hideaway, the reality sinks in. The Academy entrance exam is almost here. Is the original game's protagonist, too, fully prepared to enroll? A quick 4-panel gag, everyone's training in deadly earnest. Cynthia demands to know if that's really enough to sharpen her magic. She can refine it further. Milk coaches Lilith to balance her output and dial the power down a touch. Weiss just watches, speechless, hopelessly outclassed by his own fiancée and maid. A full-color spread frames the absurdity of his life. Why is Cynthia at my place? For fuck's sake, his fiancée and his mistress training shoulder to shoulder. The more he thinks about it, the more bizarre the sight becomes. Chapter 5. The Ultimate Line. He became Lilith's secret lover, got engaged to Cynthia, and after the chaos of recent days, he can't even wrap his head around it all. When his father returns from his diplomatic trip, Weiss fumes. There'll be a mountain of complaints waiting. Thanks a lot, Papa, for tangling everything into this ridiculous mess. All right, let's wrap up the basics, Milk announces, and move on to practical sparring. Has either of them sparred for real before? Of course I have. Cynthia says, yes, I have. Lilith chimes in, because, as if things weren't tangled enough, Lilith and Cynthia have both joined the training. Each asked Milk to whip them into shape too, in preparation for the entrance test just a few months away. Cynthia already has more than enough skill to pass easily, but she wanted to support Weiss academically, so he let her sit the exam alongside him. Lilith, as his attendant, never needed to take it at all. Both may end up far more formidable than they ever were in the original story, meaning, technically, neither of them needed to train in the first place. Weiss, Milk calls. Hefting her wooden sword, Milk lays out the first bout, Weiss versus Cynthia. Just because she's his fiancée, Cynthia warns with a sly look, he'd better not get so captivated that he holds back. Ara, captivated? The others cheer him on as he flushes with embarrassment. Now, face each other. I trust you'll understand even without me shouting, begin, right? Huh? In that instant, Cynthia is already airborne and lunging. Wait, what do you mean by the... Steel meets wood as she crashes down on him from above, and Weiss barely gets his blade up in time. The most important thing in a fight, she purrs. Didn't I tell you, Weiss? The first move, isn't that right? Then she simply vanishes. No, she disappeared. Too late, he realizes this is bad. Her eyes gleam cold as she reappears in a blur, and Weiss scrambles to react to a foe who seems to teleport around him. The secret is her element. Cynthia specializes in ice magic, letting her glide at breakneck speed as though skating on air. Her signature trick is to infuse her legs with mana and strike from his blind spots. But her speed works against her. She rushes straight onto his blade, and a light bonk drops her flat. Sorry, she stammers, mortified. All right, that's enough, Milk calls. He'd only meant a gentle tap. Swinging into her own high-speed charge just turned it into an accidental counter. That's the first time anyone's dodged me so easily. Cynthia admits frustrated as Lilith heals her with a shining heal. Milk narrows her eyes. Cynthia should have been far too fast to track. So how did Weiss read her movement? Time to find out whether it was a fluke. Next, you fight Lilith. Wait, I'm going again? Against Lilith? You're not tired already, are you? Quit whining and get to it. Sure. Lilith bows sweetly. I look forward to our match, Weiss-sama. Or so he'd expected it to be a gentle warm-up. No way, he thinks. There's no sparring lightly with a mere maid, except he's watched Lilith move again and again in ways no maid ever should. Drop his guard here, and he feels certain he'd die. The instant they begin, Lilith explodes into a blur of strikes. A relentless storm of blade and dagger that has the onlookers gaping. Weiss barely parries the onslaught. steel flashing from every angle as the demure little maid presses him without mercy. You can actually see Lilith's movements? Oh ho! Milk watches, intrigued, so reading Cynthia really wasn't luck. Weiss reels, he never dreamed Lilith could be this strong. In the original story, she was just his nameless attendant with barely any screen time. What in the world is going on? She's only just begun learning magic, yet her raw speed already outstrips his. And she has real swordsmanship on top of it. If he doesn't take this dead seriously, he realizes he's going to lose. So he commits. Dark Heel. His original magic erupts across the field in a blaze of light as Lilith comes charging in. This is Weiss-sama's original magic. Lilith recognizes it at once. A spell that heals every ally within the magic circle while steadily bleeding curse damage into any enemy caught inside. I need to get out of the circle fast, she thinks, but there's a catch. To cast it, Weiss has had to set down his wooden sword and channel with both hands. Right now, he's completely defenseless, so this is her one and only chance. Fleeing the circle just means getting picked apart by magic from within, and she can only fight up close, so she'll seize the opening and rush him head-on. Clang. Her blade rebounds off a shimmering hexagonal shield wrapped around him. Her eyes go wide. What? Good. No holding back, huh? Weiss says calmly. His original magic marries the permanence of dark to the protection of light, an absolute barrier. And layered on top of it is another spell he's kept running the whole time, the Dark Eye. Even if his body can't match Lilith's speed, between the Dark Eye that lets him read her and the absolute barrier that turns her blows aside, he can keep defending indefinitely, for as long as his mana lasts. Is that all? Milk muses. So what'll you do now, Lilith? Weiss, cancel the magic, quickly. Milk suddenly barks. Huh? Then Lilith sways, dizzy, and crumples to the ground. Lilith, a total defeat, Weiss-sama. Milk had already dosed her with a rare advanced potion, so she'll recover fine, but even she never imagined Lilith would drop in mere seconds. So what exactly was that magic? More importantly, did it do more than heal and curse? Oh, plenty. Weiss explains. The moment a foe steps into the circle, Dark Heel stacks a brutal cascade of debuffs on them. Movement and attack speed down, physical and magic defense shredded, mana drained, vitality and vigor sapped, body weakened. That's why Lilith, with her still shallow mana pool, ran dry and collapsed. And here's the terrifying part. He grins. Every stat he strips from an enemy he adds to himself. He's the exact inverse of his victims. Recognize an ally and he can share those same buffs with them, meaning the more enemies packed into his circle, the stronger he grows. The girl's eyes light up in dawning realization. Could it be? Inwardly, Weiss squirms. Is this really the moment to say it? That line, the ultimate boast every reincarnated soul dreams of delivering in another world. It's okay to say it, right? He's wanted to his whole life. Duel me, Weiss. Cynthia cuts in, aura blazing. Did I do something wrong? To think he's grown this much, she'll make him take responsibility for lighting this fire in her. Use that power of yours to cool me down. It's been so long since she's felt this fired up, and her hidden battle junkie streak comes roaring out. So Cynthia and Lilith formally joined the training too, and the tangle of misunderstandings between him and the two girls stayed stubbornly unresolved. Before he knew it, the days and months blurred past. Each one spent surviving Milk's Spartan drills. Let's go! And then, at last, the day arrives. Noblesse Magic Academy. Entrance test. Somewhere in the crowd waits a certain black-haired boy, and Weiss can feel it. The moment their paths finally cross has come. One quick aside about his outrageous father. A letter arrives boasting that he met a cute girl on the road home and has decided to bring her back to raise as his fourth wife. The listening women can only stare, deadpan, at yet another feat of shameless Vincent excess. Chapter 6. Entrance test. The splash coos, just us, forever together, as Cynthia and Lilith form a heart with their hands, framing one very small, very cornered Weiss right in the middle of it. Noblesse Magic Academy. Today, it hosts the entrance test. It's the realm's most prestigious school, coveted by everyone, with the largest campus in the world, and right on cue, a hulking thug rounds on someone. The hell are you staring at, you little bastard? The brute hoists a small examinee by the collar. So you were staring, huh? No, I just thought you were really big? You messing with me? From across the plaza, Weiss watches with a hardening glare. The whole crowd starts buzzing. Isn't that Weiss? The infamous abusive noble, here for the exam with two gorgeous girls? Then the rumors were true. That must be Lady Cynthia of House Violetta beside him. And who's the other beauty? That guy really is something else. The thug spins around and blanches. Weiss Vincent? Dash Sama, the villainous noble. He drops to his knees groveling. My deepest apologies. Anything but the abuse. Like hell I'd do that to someone like you. Just get lost. 2 years reincarnated, Weiss sighs, and his terrible reputation is still going strong. 2 years of training have passed, and he means to keep softening how the world sees him, as friendly as possible. But today, here, there's one man he must defeat. And so they finally reached the day of the entrance test. And that man is right in front of him. The thank you. You really saved me back there, says the boy he just helped up. The black-haired boy beams and offers his name. I'm Alan. Weiss freezes. This cheerful kid is the protagonist, the very hero destined to bring about his ruin. You're Weiss, right? Let's both do our best today. Hope we both make it through, Alan says warmly, extending a hand. Weiss stares at it, unable to bring himself to take it. The warning bell breaks the moment. The exam's about to start, you know, Cynthia notes. Weiss-sama, the bell just rang, adds Lilith. Ah, right. Nearby, a girl tugs Alan along. They need to hurry, too. Thank you for helping Alan, the girl says. Cheryl Elias, Alan's childhood friend. She frets that he ran ahead while Weiss got tangled up, then wonders aloud where Duke has gone. But Weiss is caught on something else entirely. What is this strange feeling? Just now, he'd hesitated to take Alan's outstretched hand. Even simply talking to the boy flooded him with an unbearable sense of dread, and he can't understand why. Sure, his goal today is to beat Alan in the exam, but it's not that he dislikes him. Afterward, he'd meant to stay on cordial, careful terms, and yet his heart won't settle. The unease won't quiet. Next comes the practical combat test, and an examiner hands out old uniforms, hand-me-downs that blunt both magic and physical damage. Everyone, change into these. Kitted out in the black combat gear, Weiss strides forth flanked by Cynthia and Lilith. A striking, formidable trio ready for the trial ahead. Then something dark flickers behind Alan's cheerful face. I want to crush him. Everyone here. I want to crush them all. Beside him, Cheryl catches it. Unsettled. No, not just him. The hero has a chilling edge no one expected. An instructor lays out the rules. Win by ringing your opponent out or forcing a surrender. And he'll intervene if things get truly dangerous. Weiss barely hears it, still rattled. Damn it, what is wrong with him? Meanwhile, the hulking examinees grumble that the borrowed uniforms are far too small. Are these guys really only 15? Go crush him, Duke. Let's just get started. Pass, they're told, and they'll get brand new uniforms that fit, because so many students ditch their old ones and vanish. Still, having gear ready for every examinee is impressive. It already feels like they've enrolled, which, Cynthia notes with an ominous little smile, only hints at how hellish life becomes once you're actually inside. Noblesse Academy is the kingdom's most prestigious and most brutal institution. Fall behind and you're expelled on the spot. Many fling away their uniforms on the way out, never wanting to see them again. The lessons are so savage some students don't make it out alive. That said, getting in isn't the hard part. Even the old lazy Weiss passed in the original story. Rain begins to fall, drip by drip. Next, examinee number 909, Weiss Vincent, the examiner calls. And number 907, Alan. The names are read, and the collision Weiss has trained 2 years for is finally at hand. The rain comes down in sheets. Everyone not currently in a match, clear to the spectator seats, the examiner orders, then throws up a great magical canopy. Whoosh! Sealing the arena off from the downpour. Whoa! The rain isn't even touching us in here. Under the barrier, Alan grins across at Weiss. Never thought I'd draw you in this mock battle. Let's make it a good one. The crowd roars for Alan. Cynthia and Lilith cheer for their master. Now then, let the mock battle begin. Weiss doesn't wait. He explodes forward in a single blistering rush, blade already swinging, and Alan's eyes go wide at the sheer speed of it. Dark heel. The magic circle blooms wide across the arena floor with a whoosh, swallowing Alan whole inside its radius. Ugh! Jwa! Alan buckles as the debuff cascade crushes him from every direction. But Weiss's face is wrong, twisted, straining. As I thought, this is bad, damn it. Something inside him is slipping loose. This burning urge to crush him, I can't hold it back. He stalks forward, wreathed in a dark aura. The examiner blinks. Nothing looks visibly wrong. But Weiss knows. That feeling from earlier, that dread around Alan, it feels sickeningly good. And at last he understands its source. Is this because of you? Weiss. Behind his own eyes, the original Weiss's malice grins out of the shadows, the buried villain baring his fangs. Horror-struck, The reborn Weiss realizes part of him is savoring Alan's suffering, and it terrifies him more than anything yet. Chapter 7. The Results of Reformation. The Splash hands the spotlight to Milk, loosening her outfit with a lazy smirk. Guess I'll step in and lend a hand. After the entrance exams end, Weiss's 2 mentors are called in for questioning at a grand hall. So, what exactly did you 2 do to Weiss? Seated across the table, the Vincent family butler, Zevis Alden, and the S-rank adventurer Milk Avitas. Milk says nothing at all. Who could have imagined it? Weiss Vincent, shattering every previous record in every single exam, leaving the faculty stunned. The academy headmaster, Gills, leans in. He wants to hear from the 2 who raised a boy with such dangerous abilities. What exactly do they make of him? Headmaster, cuts in the instructor Darius. May I have a word? Milk stays silent. He didn't technically break any records, Darius corrects, ever the stickler. Weiss's scores are the highest in academy history, true, but he tied for first with that girl. Hasn't everyone forgotten last year's incoming student? Zevis demurs mildly. He only supported Weiss with meals, provided a little basic training. Nothing special at all. And I gave him lots of protein, Milk adds. What now? Soy, dairy, chicken tenders, that sort of thing. Darius erupts. There's no way anyone reaches that level on diet alone. On top of the 4 major attributes, the boy mastered the creation magic, light and dark. Don't mess with them. Milk just tips back a tankard, gulp, gulp. And why are you drinking right now? Darius bellows. She apparently brought her own booze. Who hands her alcohol in front of the headmaster? Good grief. The whole thing, someone mutters, is just cruel to that boy. Darius, keep it down. Milk's always been like this. A flashback tells the truth the records don't. In the pouring rain, Weiss knelt over Alan's collapsed, battered body. The hero had nearly died at his hands. Alan was a prodigy, and Darius's own protege. That he was brought to the brink, all because of that brat Weiss, is what has the instructor seething. Are you going to keep spouting that same nonsense, even on a battlefield? He snarls at Milk. Are you taking it out on us? Milk asks coolly. Just because you lost a serious match? Jealousy is unsightly, Darius. He grinds his teeth. Enough, both of you, the headmaster snaps. Milk, if you'd only guided Weiss properly from the start. But Zevis cuts in gently. Rest assured, if the headmaster is worried about letting Weiss enroll, Weiss would never turn his power against the weak. He has changed. Rather than being devoured by his own talent, he drives himself with honest effort, striving to become a man who is strong and truly courageous. Outside the gates, the trio stands with their acceptance letters in hand. Letters clutched tight, Cynthia and Lilith beam while Weiss scans his own. All 3 of them accepted. Everyone, someone begins. Inside a lecture hall, a bespectacled instructor addresses the new students. Congratulations on your enrollment. I'm Chloe, and I'll be in charge of this class. I look forward to teaching you all. Welcome. The camera drifts across the faces of the new class. Weiss, Cynthia, Lilith, Alan, Cheryl, and the rest. As Academy life at long last begins. To Noblesse Magic Academy, the instructor finishes. Cynthia smiles, Lilith looks on, and Weiss sits among his new classmates with a grim, guarded expression. Because he alone knows what really happened on exam day. On the day of the exam, I did defeat Alan, he recalls. Arms crossed, outwardly the picture of confidence. But the memory is anything but triumphant. No matter how many times he knocked Alan flat, the boy dragged himself back up, and Weiss, consumed by the original villain's rage, nearly beat him to death. Worse still, each time Alan rose, he grew stronger, taking far longer to put down than expected. Weiss won by a landslide in the end, but at a cost he can't stop thinking about. Damn it, he thinks. It felt like I was being shown firsthand what it truly means to be a protagonist. Then a snap. The instructor Chloe clicks her fingers, and light flares from the back of her hand. What the? There's light coming off her hand. A glowing sigil resolves into a number, 1,000. That's the amount each of you has been granted, Chloe explains. 1,000 points, a measure that will follow you all the way to graduation. Points? The class murmurs, baffled. She chalks 1,000 on the board. Everyone starts with 1,000. But Weiss Vincent, based on your test results, you've been granted 2,000. The room erupts in disbelief. 2,000! Isn't doubling his points a little harsh on the rest of us? So they're like grades? What do these points even mean, sensei? Chloe just smiles. Rather than spell it all out in words, she says it'll be far easier for them to understand through experience. Everyone, take a wooden sword, she instructs, and head to the training grounds. The whole nervous class files out to obey. On the field, Chloe delivers the truth. Now we begin the combat test. Earlier, I congratulated you on enrolling, but I never said I'd see you through to graduation. You've likely guessed it already. Any student whose points hit 0 is expelled on the spot. Huh? So, today, she says, sweeping her gaze across the mall, you'll fight each other until someone's points reach 0. The entire class, Weiss and Alan among them, stands braced for a brawl that could end their academy careers before they've begun. Meanwhile, far away, Milk drowns in tankards atop a heap of flattened adventurers. Ever since Weiss left for the academy, every day feels unbearably empty. All right, she decides with a wicked little grin. She'll just go earn a teaching license at Noblesse Magic Academy to kill some time. A storm, it seems, is brewing. Chapter 8. The determination to crush. The splash softens the mood for a moment. Cynthia in an apron stirring a pot, Lilith at her side. Before the story turns hard again. A bright, friendly boy approaches Weiss. You're Weiss-kun, right? I'm Louis. I watched your mock battle. You were incredible. Highest score ever, they say. This is Louis Vincent, though Cynthia, Lilith, and the others radiate an icy don't-talk-to-us aura the whole time. Louis is a top-tier talent. In the original story, he earned stellar grades and graduated at the head of his class, a refreshing, handsome fan favorite. That very Louis is now, and yet, on the training field, Chloe's voice cuts cold. Did you not hear me? A sigil flares. 0. Louis Vincent, expelled. The boy destined to reach graduation kneels bloodied and broken in the dirt. His points gone, out of the academy on the very first day. And the one who crushed him so utterly, Weiss realizes with a jolt, was none other than Alan. The cheerful hero flattened a top student in an instant, and Weiss can only stare, rattled to his core. At lunch, Weiss stews over his tray. What does he do now? He'd meant to avoid every unnecessary move beyond beating Alan, to keep the original scenario intact as much as possible. He'd been trying so hard not to break the story. This is quite delicious, Cynthia hums, eating beside Lilith. But Weiss spirals. The heroine has somehow become his fiancé, Louis, meant to last until graduation. Washed out on day 1, and everything is tumbling into chaos he never foresaw. Most unnerving of all are the dark emotions bubbling up from the original Weiss inside him. Ever since he met Alan, his inner Weiss keeps urging him to turn aggressive. Not just toward Alan, but toward everyone around him. He's supposed to play nice and earn their trust slowly, carefully. Yet now he can barely resist the urge to crush them all. Give in, hurt the people near him, and he'll end up despised, exactly like in the original story. The spoon bending in his whitening grip. You want to crush them all? Cynthia says suddenly, she's heard him. He freezes. Sounds fine to me, she replies evenly, if that's what you truly want. You're not even reacting to me saying something like that. Weiss just thanks the chef quietly for the meal, thrown completely off balance. This is Noblesse Magic Academy, remember? Cynthia goes on. He's always been too kind. Honestly, she'd been a little worried for him. But after watching how he fought in the exam, she's begun to see him in a whole new light. In a world of crush or be crushed, she says, you can't afford to show your opponents any mercy. The world of competition is harsh, Cynthia says. If they choose to stand in it, they have to be just as ruthless. I feel the same, Weiss-sama, Lilith adds. I'll support you no matter what. But in the end, doing what you truly want is what matters most. The chef keeps offering seconds of pot au feu. Both girls politely decline. You're my fiancé, Cynthia declares, so you should at least have the spirit to knock everyone else down. Weiss softens. Cynthia, thank you, both of you. He's not sure he can make peace with it overnight, but talking to the two of them really did help put things in perspective. Oh right, Weiss-sama, Lilith offers. If you truly can't decide, there's always a coin toss. Leaving it to fate, huh? He turns it over. The scenario's already half in ruins anyway. Maybe he'll just let a coin decide everything and stop agonizing over it altogether. The chef seizes him mid-thought. I put real effort into this, so eat it all. But Weiss flicks the coin skyward, and it spins glinting through the corridor air. The coin bears the kingdom's castle on one face and a dragon, symbol of the strongest, on the other. Heads, he'll fight down the dark impulse and try to get along with Alan, steering clear of ruin. Tails, he lets it all loose. The coin tumbles toward the floor. Then, in a hallway, Alan appears holding it out. Weiss, you dropped this. The hero enrolled too, battered as he was. Sorry my greeting's late. Weiss manages. I'm glad though, Alan says warmly, because I wanted to see you again. Weiss answers with the honest truth. No, actually, I wanted to fight you again. That's probably more accurate. I see, Alan replies. A dark grin spreads across Weiss's face as he pockets the coin. Me too, Alan. Whatever the toss decided, he stopped fighting the pull. He wants this collision as badly as the hero does. In a team battle, Weiss cuts loose. Ha! Blasting an opponent clear off her feet with a burst of magic. Kya! As he raises his hand for the finish, Chloe calls it, that's enough. Chris Schlegel, expelled. The sigil reads 0 over her fallen form. A hulking classmate charges in with a desperate roar. You! Woo! Weiss meets the brute head on, turning the charge aside and dropping him in a flash. Dwa! Gustav Gregorio, expelled. The names keep falling. Karuna Kinich, expelled. Layman Kutavireta, expelled. Bodies slump across the field. Whoa, I thought that was a severed head. What was his name again? Expelled. 6 more rivals gone today, Cynthia notes. Impressive, Weiss. He barks orders like a commander now. Cynthia, Lilith, flank them and draw their attention. Roger. No more hesitating, he thinks with a grin. And it's all thanks to Alan. He owes him one. He hurls himself forward at full force. I'll crush you head on and tear this entire scenario to pieces. Cynthia and Lilith carve through the flanks beside him, while Alan and Cheryl watch the transformed Weiss with unease. That night in the dorms, a lone braided girl stares at her dwindling score, 22, and she's already at her limit. Even if I'm not around, you have to keep going, Carta. Someone please help me. What future waits for a girl counting down the days until her own expulsion? The match is over. Victory to Team Weiss. A banner reads that Weiss's fierce advance rolls on. He stands holding the captured flag while Alan slumps to the ground, both of them soaked and gasping for breath. Chapter 9. Scout. The splash centers on the braided girl from the dorm, clutching an ornate mage's staff, nearly as tall as she is, 1 month since enrollment. G-A-A-A-Yeah! Weiss blasts yet another classmate off the platform. 10 students have already washed out, and he personally sent 7 of them packing. And of those, the ranking boards tell the story. Magic defense, magic tracking, magic stealth, field after field. One name sits at the very top. Weiss Vincent ranked first? In every single category. The students gape. Damn you, Weiss. Is this your second life or something? How'd you get this strong? Demands Duke Billy and Cheryl's childhood friend. What kind of regimen did he even follow? In yesterday's flag battle, he slipped clean through the magic threads Cheryl had woven like they were nothing. He snatched the flag before anyone could blink, flattened Alan in an instant, and took first place in the entire year by a landslide. A staggering test score of 5,700 points. The Reborn scoundrel has become the Academy's undisputed monster. Shut up, Duke, you're too loud, someone mutters as Duke rages. Just how much virtue did you bank in your past life, huh? Alan, meanwhile, quietly stews. He's lost to Weiss yet again. Just win next time. Don't worry about it, Alan. Weiss tells himself this is fine. The old Weiss used to vent his ugly feelings through cruel, underhanded schemes, which is exactly why everyone hated him and drove him to ruin. But the current Weiss lets it all out fair and square, in honest matches. No one has any reason to hate him. He's done nothing to feel guilty about. So please, don't look at me like that, Cheryl-chan, he thinks, catching her wary stare. The scene shifts. Instructor Chloe corners a nervous student. And so, Carta-san, if you don't score any points in the next practical test, you understand what that means, don't you? Yes, I'm fine, the braided girl answers softly. This is Carta Viole. That will be all, Chloe says coldly. I didn't ask whether you were fine. In the original story, Weiss recalls, Carta was expelled right after this exam, and her downfall lit a fire under her best friend, who buckled down and made it to graduation. That's how the side story went. But by beating that best friend himself, in a perfectly fair match, Weiss got the wrong girl expelled and knocked the whole tale off its rails. Carta is meant to slip quietly out of the academy without leaving a single mark. As she walks off with her staff, a pair of mean girls jeer. What's she even going to do for the next exam? A tag battle, no less. Without a partner? That annoying bestie of yours already got expelled, right? How do you lose all your points in one match? Her last one was hilarious. Weiss absolutely wrecked her. Carta shrinks under the mockery. Then a voice. Carta! She whirls. Ooh, Weiss, for the next exam? He says plainly. Want to team up with me? Carta can only stare. stunned that the Academy's top-ranked first year is asking her, of all people. Out on the cliffs, she hesitates. Why would he want someone like her? She's on the brink of expulsion, and he's number 1. Besides, he has Cynthia. They're not a match at all. Weiss says nothing at first. Then Carta stiffens, sensing something in the trees. A hidden, prickling presence. What's wrong, Carta? Weiss asks. Unseen by him, Lilith lurks in the shadows, watching with a quiet, dangerous aura. Worried about my fiancé? Weiss guesses. Don't be. Cynthia wants me to be the best in the Academy. She'll understand that pairing with another girl is just a way to win. But that bloodlust, just now, Carta thinks, unsettled. No. Listen, Carta. It's not like I'm doing this to help you. I don't have the time or energy to pity every student who washes out. Carta glances back. The presence is gone now. Did she imagine it? But it'd be a genuine waste if you got expelled, Weiss continues. Your flying magic is truly impressive. Even skilled mages struggle to control flight, he explains. So it'd be a shame for someone with her mastery to vanish unnoticed. Teaming up is simply the most efficient play. And besides, for the next exam, Carta, meanwhile, is certain of it. Someone really was there a moment ago. There's no way she imagined it. A tall, fair-haired figure steps out from behind the trees. Cynthia herself. Impressive sensing ability you've got there. She says with a slow smile. Is Carta's perception even keener than Weiss's dark eye, Cynthia wonders? Sharp enough to catch faint traces of magic even Weiss can't detect. From Lilith, who has mastered assassination arts. Still, you didn't quite pin down Lilith. Carta shrieks as the maid herself pops out, smiling sweetly. The coming tag battle, Cynthia explains, is a joint exam spanning all 3 school years. She and Lilith can hold their own even against second and third years, so Weiss's real winning move is pairing with someone gifted like Carta. So please, take the exam alongside Weiss-sama. I'll be teaming up with Lilith. Overwhelmed and teary, Carta is smothered by the 2 girls cooing Carta-san as they seal the deal. And that's why, Weiss says, I've decided to pair with you. We'll start special training right away. There's not much time before the exam. And just like that, his intensive training with Carta begins. Yes, she answers, tears streaking down even as she smiles. Why are you crying? Weiss wonders aloud. The pressure on poor Carta already off the charts. Chapter 10. Each of their growth. The splash shows Carta soaring on her staff, the gap between her flying magic and Weiss's plain as day. Heaven and earth. In the woods, they drill it. Flying magic's a tricky thing to master, Weiss admits. But I'm really starting to get the hang of it now. Nah, you couldn't even stay airborne for 2 whole seconds. Carta, the flying magic user, deadpans. Well, not yet, I guess. So there's really no need for you to learn it, she says. For the exam, the plan is that I'll do the flying, with you riding along. But I figured this is a rare chance to learn it, Weiss adds. Any magic can become a powerful weapon depending on how it's used. No harm in knowing it. He just happens to have a flying magic teacher named Carta right here. And right now, sorry for dragging you into something that has nothing to do with the exam. I just thought you could teach me a little. In return, tomorrow I absolutely will not let you get expelled. And even after the exam, he asks, would she keep training him in flying magic now and then? You really can't trust rumors, Carta thinks with a small laugh. Weiss-kun was such a hard worker, she realizes. I had no idea. All right, Weiss-kun, she says, if you're okay with someone like me, I'd be happy to help. Everyone calls him a lazy, disgraceful noble. Carta muses. But he's nothing of the sort. He's a striver, always eager to learn and try new things. She finds herself wanting to be like him. Watching from a distance, instructor Chloe murmurs his name, Weiss Vincent. Headmaster Gills studies the report. A score simply unbelievable for an underclassman. And more than half of all the expelled students, Chloe notes, were taken down by Weiss alone. Yet the rest of this year's intake is exceptional too. Weiss is certainly impressive, but the one who surprised her most was Darius's apprentice, Alan. Time and again he clawed his way back from the very brink of defeat, and every single time he rose, he came back stronger than before. And 2 others caught her completely off guard, Lilith and Cynthia, the maid and the heroine, clashing blades and pushing each other to bloody, breathless limits. The pair have grown at a pace that would have been unthinkable back when they first enrolled. Shards of shattered rock hanging frozen in the air around them. They train as if their lives are truly on the line. No reinforced protective gear, throwing themselves into genuinely dangerous combat, with real steel instead of wooden swords. That reckless life-or-death regimen has made them staggeringly strong. At last, they both collapse, chests heaving, spent to the bone. Then they patch each other up. Heal. You're really something, Lilith. No, Cynthia-sama, you're the impressive one. And I'm going to get even stronger. I want to keep standing at Weiss's side. As an equal, Lilith vows. Not just tagging along, but as someone strong and proud. Me too, Cynthia agrees. I want to grow stronger for Weiss-sama, so that when he's in danger, I can be someone he actually relies on. You're already plenty strong, aren't you? Oh, nowhere near as much as you, Cynthia-sama. They trade sweet praise. Then their smiles sharpen. Their immediate goal, after all, is to pry that Carta girl away from Weiss's side. Isn't it? Far off, Carta shivers. Why the sudden chill? And then, the day of the exam arrives. Students massing around a great transport sigil. Time to leave it to fate. Rock, paper, scissors, Duke Billion declares. All right, whoever loses gets stuck with a random stranger. One shot, no hard feelings. Got it? You always make such a fuss. Okay, rock, paper, here we go. Then the countdown. 3, 2, 1. The next pair will now be transported to Mount Gariel. Weiss and Carta materialize deep in a forest. We go after the upperclassmen with the highest points and take them down, just like we planned. You ready for this, Carta? Yeah. She nods, as a great bird wheels overhead. Now that you've all been transported to your designated points across the mountain, the announcer intones over the sprawling ranges. Listen up, students. Pair after pair stands ready across the peaks. Weiss and Carta, Alan and Cheryl, Duke with his rowdy partners, Cynthia and Lilith. From this moment on, the joint 3-year tag survival test begins. Weiss and Carta brace themselves. Duke throws his rock, paper, scissors, and Cynthia, a rose at her collar, fixes her gaze on the hunt to come. And on a distant beach, sprawled in a hammock atop a heap of flattened adventurers, Milk suddenly bolts upright. Ah, that's right. I was going to get my teaching license for Noblesse Magic Academy. When an idea strikes, she reminds herself. Act on it at once. Chapter 11. Carelessness is the greatest enemy. A full-color spread gathers the whole cast as the 3-year tag survival test roars to life. Eat or be eaten. Compassion is utterly unnecessary. Work with your partner and prove exactly what you're capable of. With seasoned upperclassmen in the mix, can Weiss and the others survive to the end? Deep in the forest, the hunt is on. Wah! An upperclassman convulses as one of Weiss's traps snaps shut. Huh? His partner spins around. What's wrong? A heartbeat too late. From high above, Carta swoops in on her flying magic and strikes from the sky. Gia! One after another, the students drop. No. 27, Vivid, first year number 30. 1. Ariel, unable to continue. Weiss and Carta are carving through the field. FWO. The defeated are whisked straight back to Noblesse Magic Academy. Elsewhere, 2 smug upperclassmen cackle over a snared victim. Can't even spot a simple trap. First years are such easy prey. An amazing kid this year? Pfft, probably nothing special, they scoff. Every hyped rookie has already washed out. All talk. It was Weiss Vincent, right? What was that first year's name again? They can't even remember it. They don't get the chance to. Out of nowhere, Weiss is on them. Thud, and the mocking pair crumples as a cold grin crosses his face. Second-year student number 10, Liddy, unable to continue. A bespectacled upperclassman unleashes a blazing magic circle, but Weiss reads it and turns the exchange against him without breaking stride. He drops on the next one straight out of the treetops. Where the hell did you come from? Damn it, the student yelps. From the sky, Weiss answers flatly. One opponent, though, is different, casting a dense, high-powered fire spell with no incantation at all. The star on his shoulder marks him as a top-grade second year. This one's the real deal, Weiss notes. So no holding back. Whoosh! A shimmering, transparent wall snaps into being at Weiss's feet, and he springs off it just as the second year roars. Burn to ashes, Weiss! And lets loose a torrent of flame. Whoosh! The fireball engulfs the air where he'd been, but Weiss has already kicked off his conjured wall and vaulted clear. Wah! His opponent gapes. Did he just change direction in midair? Another wall, another impossible cut of momentum. He's doing it again. No one can track him. A-ba-ba-ba-ba. Weiss crashes down on the fire user and puts him away, blinking across the battlefield on flickering disposable footholds of light and dark. He never did master true flight, Weiss admits, but he picked up something else instead. a transparent wall woven from dark, light, and non-elemental magic all at once. He calls it the unnatural wall. He can summon it in midair and use it as a foothold. Exactly like that. It only holds for the split second he kicks off, and the higher he goes, the faster it drains his mana, so he can't soar far. But that's more than enough. Learning flying magic paid off after all. It's massively widened his options. Facing a mohawked upperclassman next, Weiss simply lets the blows rain against his hexagonal barrier. Tch, what the hell is this thing? The man snarls, his strikes bouncing off harmlessly. Boom! Weiss answers with a single decisive blast. Second year number 17. May hit. Unable to continue. Sorry, Weiss-kun, Carta says, drifting down. She'd tried to signal another team's approach, the flying magic expert explains, but when he didn't notice, she just took the shot herself. You did great. Dropped him in one blow. They praise each other's work. Her barrier sense and his instincts click into a real team. Then a calculating, spectacled upperclassman sizes him up. All of Weiss's abilities are high-spec but inefficient, unusable in quick succession, and that barrier is clearly another dark-light blend. You're the top first year, right? Don't get cocky over beating trash. By my calculations, your odds of beating me are 0%. Whoom! The man rips off his glasses and erupts with power. No, to be precise, it's 3.141-592-6535. With my glasses off, my combat ability multiplies by pi. 3.14? Surprised? A gloriously ridiculous power-up. Weiss's answer is quiet and total. Dark Heal. The magic circle blooms wide and swallows the pi-powered show-off whole. FSS. HHH. My strength is draining away. Why? What is this skill? The human calculator sputters, utterly stumped. This kind of data wasn't in my figures. Come back after more research. P. Weiss cuts him down mid-tantrum. Second year number 96. Archimedes. Unable to continue. That's one more off the board. Weiss checks his coin. 7,014 points. Let's go, Carta. Let's keep this up and bleed the careless upperclassmen dry. And Carta's own tally has rocketed from a doomed 22 all the way to 1,336. She's safe. He rewrote her ending after all. Crossing an open field, the two run into another pair. You're Alan-san and Cheryl-san, right? Carta ventures politely. Greetings. Hero and Reborn villain circle back toward each other once more. And elsewhere, Cynthia and Lilith come face to face with a team of their own. Care for a quick bout to kill some time? Bursting with potential far beyond anything the original game ever wrote for them. The two stand ready for a showdown. And there, our recap of Part 1 comes to a close.